How to reduce inflammation in your back. So if you are struggling with lots of pain and inflammation in your back, this video is going to be exactly for you. I'm going to talk to you about exactly what inflammation feels like. If you are suffering with those symptoms, then exactly what you can do to get rid of them quickly and safely. I'm Dr. Jeremy Andrews, Doctor of Chiropractic here at West Chiropractic in Surrey. So first, let's talk about how inflammation actually starts in your body and your spine. So very often it can happen from a trauma, a trip, or a fall, or something out of place. This can start causing the muscles and the tissues to get swollen. The fluid can then start to pool, which can then bring inflammation to the area. Inflammation is actually a really effective way to promote healing. So we don't want to reduce inflammation too quickly. It has to be quite slow as we go through the process, because it is there as a protective mechanism. Inflammation often means heat. So one of the first things we can do is try and reduce inflammation by using cold. We have these ice packs here. So you get these on Amazon, they're very cheap. You can get them sort of £5–10 a pop. They're very simple. These are a hot and cold pack, so you can use them for heat as well if you like. A lot of people will use heat because it feels good. Now, heat is going to exacerbate inflammation. So if it feels good, it may not be causing you too much relief in the long run. So make sure that if you are using heat, always use cold afterwards. So a cold pack like this, pop this in the freezer. It's got a special gel in the middle which will keep it nice and cool. Now, the way I use it is if I'm struggling with my back. So what I do is I pop it in my back like this. So literally just in my trousers like that there. So hopefully you can see that okay. And it's cold and it just sits across the top of my spine there. So right on the top of my sit bones here and then down in this area here. Now I can move around like this for the next 15 minutes. I can sit down, I can do stuff with the kids, and I'm free to walk around, and it's just tucked into my belt there. Now that's easy because I'm a guy and most of the time I'm wearing shorts or trousers most of the time. Now for ladies, that's a bit more tricky with things like dresses and skirts. You obviously won't be able to do that. So if you are going to do it, there's other things where you can get like a belt, like an ice belt, that actually allows you to put the ice pack in there, bring the belt around, and that's going to take the pressure off those areas. So first thing we're going to use is an ice pack. Do it for 15 minutes, put it back in the freezer for 45, and then you're going to go back for 15 minutes. You can't do this enough. Just make sure that you're putting it over the t-shirt. It's not skin on skin. The only thing I would say with ice is that there's a risk of obviously causing a burn. So we don't want to have an ice burn on the skin. Make sure there's a contact point in between either a t-shirt or it's wrapped in some sort of towel. Second thing, inflammation. Well, let's just use non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. Let's get some anti-inflammatory drugs in there. Fantastic. So if you have suffered a sports injury, like a swollen ankle or a knee problem, then by all means, an anti-inflammatory drug is probably going to be the first port of call that most medical doctors would go to. Now, the thing with anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, brand name Nurofen, is that they're not designed for long-term use. They are there to reduce inflammation in the immediate 24 hours to 48 hours, but longer term, they start to cause problems with the stomach lining. Yeah, they reduce the amount of mucus that the stomach lining secretes, which means the stomach acid can then get contacted with the wall. Acid on the wall without that nice mucus layer there is obviously going to cause problems with ulcers, irritation. You may find that as like reflux, indigestion at the start, and then longer term can start causing ulcers and more problems with the stomach lining. So yeah, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs were not designed for long-term use. So please proceed with caution. Just take care with those when you are using them. Only use them for 24 to 48 hours as the doctor recommends. Number 3, what about natural anti-inflammatory foods that you can eat? Well, things like ginger, turmeric are all amazing anti-inflammatory foods that you can put in your body, and they're not going to have any adverse side effects. So these are great when you are struggling with inflammation. Other things you can use as well are raw leafy greens. So things like kale, your broccolis, your spinach. Having a lot of these in a smoothie helps to bring the inflammation down in your body. The reason is these are alkalis. So if we look at the alkali versus acid pH scale, taking you back to your GCSE chemistry here, acid is not good. Acid means inflammation. So things like red meats, your steaks, your high salt, red wine, caffeine, smoking, this is all going to create a very acidic state in our body. Now, if what we bathe our body in is the blood and the interstitial fluid, that's got a high acid content to it, then that's going to breed more inflammation and cause problems. Where if we try and shift that scale all the way down here to the more alkali, where we're drinking lots of fresh water, we're having lots of leafy greens, we're not having too much dairy or too much meat. That's going to make it, we're more in an alkaline state here. Now, I'm not against eating meat. I do eat meat, I do eat dairy, but I do think we can eat too much of it, and that can cause our body to go into more of an acid state. So alkaline, raw leafy greens, fish is fantastic as well, like rich oily fish, Mediterranean diet, nuts, seeds, not too many white grains like your pastas, your flour, bread, pizza, those sorts of things. Try and avoid those if we can. A nice Mediterranean diet, that's what, yeah, Michael Mosley, he loves that sort of stuff. He's very spot on with your alkali-based diet. So supplements can cause a reduction in inflammation. So things like omega-3s. Omega-3s are amazing at naturally reducing inflammation in the body. So where do you find omega-3s? So things like oily fish, so your salmons, your mackerels, anchovies, they all provide a lot of omega-3s. Chia seeds, flax seeds, any sort of nuts as well. Walnuts are very, very high in omega-3, so they're fantastic for trying to reduce the overall inflammation. They work on a similar pathway that ibuprofen does as well. So ibuprofen blocks off that mucus protecting pathway, whereas the omega-3s don't. They help to just reduce the overall inflammation in the body, and they maintain the lining of the gut very nicely. So number 5, deep breathing. So those of you that know, when we breathe in oxygen, and then we breathe out carbon dioxide. Now, too much carbon dioxide in our body can increase inflammation. So we really want to make sure that we're doing lots of breathing exercises. When we tend to get stressed or we get problems, we tend to have a more of a shallow, shorter breath. You want to get back to those nice deep breaths. So breathing in through the nose for 5 seconds, and you hold for 3. Nice big exhale. Breathing out like this. What I tend to do as well is bring my shoulders up, and on the exhale, I really try and pull my shoulders down and relieve all the pressure in my muscles here as well, and relax the whole body. But getting that nice balance of oxygen versus your CO2 by restoring that breath and equalizing your breath, that's going to help the body reduce a lot of inflammation as well. Not to mention the impact it has on your mind, just taking a step back, trying to just do 3 minutes of deep breathing, going to really relax the whole body, take a lot of stress out of your body as well. Number 6. It's going to be choosing the right mattress. You need to ensure that the mattress gives you enough support. The last thing you want is it sinking down and you're having then 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night with your body not in the right position. That feedback needs to be good. When your body here sits on the mattress, there's not too much give, which is why I'm not a massive fan of memory foam mattresses, because your body sinks into its natural position, which is obviously going to be bad if you're having back pain. So that natural position is not good. We need to make sure we're giving some feedback to take pressure off there. Okay, so those are some really simple steps that you can start today. Some things you may have not heard about before that can make a massive difference into your overall body, not just for inflammation, but for stress reduction. Stress, actually, on this point, stress increases cortisol, and cortisol is an inflammatory marker in our body. There's good parts of cortisol, you know, if you're running away from lions or a pack of wolves, you need to have that cortisol for that fight-flight response. But we are all too much in that fight-flight response a lot of the time, rushing around. There's too much cortisol in our blood. It's going to cause overall inflammation. So trying to bring that cortisol down, breathing, relaxing, trying to reduce stress is going to massively help for the overall body. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share with your friends as well, anyone suffering with lots of inflammation in their body. You can get copies of my best-selling books here on Amazon. I'll put the links in below. Secret Cure to Back Pain, How to Avoid a Lifetime of Painkillers and Surgery, How to Transform Your Back, Start the Steps to Recovery. I'll put the links in the show notes below. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.